Today we're going to continue working on the home screen. Now last time we have finished with the navbar, some headline here, and a filter for selection of different channels. Now today, before we start, I want to make some changes. Looking at this, it seems a bit too large. So what I want to do is I want to decrease its size just a bit. And the way I'm going to do it is first let's go over here, and you can see like I can't resize them because they are components. Uh, but if I make the fill the container in which they are in here, and I can give them another container. So instead of the menu toggle container, I can take this, and I can shift A perhaps, or we can just click F on the keyboard, drag out a frame here, and make this menu icon container, and just take it and put it right here. Or actually, there's a better way of doing it. We can just right click and reset instance just to return it the way it was. We are going to go to the components here, and I think we can edit it. Yeah, here we can do our edits properly. So I'm going to make the height 24 for that, and I'll decrease the height to 12 here, and the height here to around 36. And I think that will result in a better, yeah, the size here is much better and it doesn't take as much space as it used to. That's great. So we have now the filter, the headline, and the navbar. What I want to continue working on is with the actual selection here, the actual frequency selection, in which we actually uh, see the different channels and see the different channels in between the main points. For example, if we are selecting the channel 101.1, then we want to see channels between 101 and 102. So let's just get into it. I'm going to start by just creating some lines here indicating a certain frequency. I'm going to create just a line here, and I want to make it around 64 pixels on its height. Obviously now you can't really see it. So let's do a couple of things here. First of all, I want to make this a bit thicker. Let's do 8. Then let's give it a gray 700 maybe. Or actually, let's go with gray 300, which is barely visible, so I don't really want that. I think we need a new gray color here. So I'm just gonna go something like this here, around here. That looks great, so it's not too visible. Obviously, if we see the contrast checking here, it doesn't really stand out. Let's just make it a bit more visible here. So something around here, I think would work nicely. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to add a new one, and this will be between the gray 300 uh, in the 700. So it's around gray 400, I would say. So since we have done that here, let's just call this frequency. Let's go back to the components here. Actually, in our components, we actually want to go back to brands. And here, let's just duplicate the gray 300. And let's rename this to be the gray 400. And since we've done that, we can also apply it here. So you can see it's going from the darkest to the lightest. Now let's go back to the design here. So obviously what we want to do, and we want to take the endpoints and make them rounded just to fit the overall style of our design, of our brand. Now what I want to do is I want to have 10 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so these are different frequencies. Now the first one should be a standard frequency, like a point in the frequency where we're getting into a new range. For example, this might be 101 and this might be 102. So what I want to do is I want to increase the size here to around 96 pixels. And obviously I want to take this up here. I'm going to align this perfectly later. So here we will have this. So it's 101, 101.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Then on the 0.5, we want to increase this just a bit here, around 76 maybe. 76 or 81, let's go, because it's a multiple. It's a good multiple of 3, I think, to put in between. Something like this. So 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. Then we need one more. And this should be 96. So this is how our range will look. So let's just take everything and Shift A, put them inside of an auto layout. Let's give it 24 pixel gap in between. Then let's actually work on the main frequency ranges here. So you can see that if we first, let's name these frequencies. If we just get inside of here and just start typing something, here let's say 101, then I want to make this 101 a bit smaller, so I'm going to go with 12 pixels, and everything else will be regular. So let's create a new style for this. This is going to be small. So actually, if we do that, we have to go back to the branding, go down and add one more here, and let's apply the small for it. Now we're just going to change this 14 to 12 and this base to small. Okay, great. So now what we have to do is just take this and properly align it. Let's go back to the design here. So since we have this, we're gonna align it with the first one, the main point. So let's just take these two, Shift A, and I just want to say this would be the point, main point. Okay, then what I want to do here is I want to align them vertically around 16 pixel gap, not even 16, I would say 8. Then I will want to center align. Then let's actually put this on top here. Now, what we are left with is this extra space that we don't really want. So what we want to do is we want to take this and we want to drag it in until it's perfectly aligned here. Just like this. So the height would be our content, but the actual width would be 8 pixels since the rest of the bars are also 8 pixels. So what we want to do is I want to copy this and Control Shift R here. Do the same thing with this one and just change this one to 202. So now we have sort of like a standard to follow. So what we can do here is we can first, let's take it out. Let's actually cut it. Let's go to component. And I want to go create a new frame for this. Frequencies. Hopefully I'm spelling this right. Frequencies. Okay. Then let's just Control Shift R. I want to start from some points. Maybe like 900, 100. Let's do 99. Actually, let's do 100. Let's go to 101. And how do we add additionals? So it's very simple. First, we take the first 4, duplicate it, and move it to the left. Duplicate the midpoint, and again, take it to the left. Then take these again and duplicate them. Take them to the left. Finally, we want to take the main point, duplicate it, take to the end. So now we have 102. And I think for now this is enough. We don't really need anything more. We don't really need to go to 99, 103. This is quite enough. So I want to just make this a component. And I want to focus here actually before anything. Uh, so we are going to be working with a frequency, just test it out. We are going to be using the frequency 101.1. So let's just go here. Let's go somewhere around here. Just make it easier to work with. So this is 101.1, point 2, and point 3. So for this one, I want to give it the red color. This just means that it is the current selection, right? So since this is the current selection, I think it would be nice to just give it an indication. So let's just copy this and Control Shift R here. And let's go here and return this to be 64. And this should be 101.1. Sorry, 103. And this one should be our, that's red actually, our brand color, brand 500. Okay, since we have done this, I want to just add one thing, and it's just changing the color of the text to be the gray 700. We don't want it to be super high visual hierarchy. So now that we have this, we can just copy it. Actually, I want to go here first of all and just change it from main points to selected. Let's copy this and go back to design. And let's drag it down here. Okay. So what we want to do, what we want to make sure of is that the 101.3 is, even though if it's not at the center, we want to make it close to it. So I want to go with something like this here. Something like this. And I want to take the edges here. Okay. Here, I don't think I can resize that here. Okay. So the max height widget could get is 365. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to make this 365. Something like this. Okay, let's just return it the way it was, actually. I have an idea to make this work better. Okay. We can actually just put this inside of another frame. Here, we're going to call this frame frequencies container. And we're just going to take the frequencies and put it inside of the frame. Now this should be 365. Let's center it. And you can see it is bounded perfectly to the center. Now then we can get into it and just do whatever we want here. And also we just want to go here and unclip the content here so that it can overflow. So what's the point of doing this, you might ask? And it is simply to when we later use this as an auto layout, we want to be able to center it vertically, and if it is overflowing, it will not be centered relative to the screen, but relative to the width of this container. So hopefully that makes sense. Now we can just go here, take the 119 height here and just paste it here. Just like this. Okay, great. Good progress here. Now that we have our selector, frequency selector. So what's next? Obviously, we want to have an indicator of the selected frequencies, right? So the way we're going to do this is let's take this down. And let's write the selected frequency 101.3, and let's just make this a bit bigger here. Also, it should be semi-bold, and let's make it around 64 maybe. 96. 96 I think works pretty nice. So also I want to make the line height 100%, and I want to decrease the letter spacing by 2 pixels. And I think this is what we want. Maybe 96 a bit too much. Maybe I would want to go to around 93 or 80, 80 something, maybe 84. 84 I think works much better. Okay, let's continue. So since we have this will be the current selection, and obviously we want to make this into our variables or text styles. I want to apply this to be, this should be around 3 extra large or 4 extra large. Let's say 4 extra large. Since extra large is actually 40 pixels, so extra large would be around 64, then 84. Okay, so it's going to be 3XL here, and it's going to be semi-bold. Also, it should be full or full, yeah, it should be full and condensed. Okay. So the full indicates that its line height is 100%. Since larger texts tend to have too much line height, so we want to decrease that. And the condensed is that it is letter spacing has been decreased by 2 pixels. And I'd like to do that because I don't want larger text to have too much of space horizontally. I want to better utilize my spacing. So let's just go back to the branding, and let's just duplicate this, and this should be 3XL, semi-bold, 84 pixels. Again, 84 pixels is a multiple of both 3 and 6. It's actually, the main point is that it's a multiple of 6. Here, okay, here, yeah. Let's continue. Instead of also it should be 100%, and instead of 0 pixels, it should be minus 2 pixels. And since there is a slash here, I really don't want to confuse this, so I'm just going to put it in parentheses. Then let's actually just apply it here, and let's move this down. Great. Great. So you can see how our branding is growing as we create our app, and you will get at the point where you don't have to add any more. It will be just you have everything you need. You can just pick out what you want. But for now, we'll add a little bit more. So let's continue. And as we continue, we'll just need to add 2 elements to this header selection, right? So the first one is the frequency. Like we want to say it's 103.101.3, and we want to say it's in megahertz. And we want to actually take this, and I'm going to use the base here, just the base one. Maybe the base is a bit too small. Let's go in here and add 24, or 32. I want to go to 24. Oh, yeah, 24 seems nice. And let's add the gray color since it's not really something of huge importance. And I want to add this style to be just medium. Yeah, medium, just medium. So we will just go back to branding once more, and let's add the mediums here, right? So the medium would be in between around, where is it? Okay, it's in between the base and the extra large. So I'm just going to duplicate the base. This should be 24 media. and it should not be semi-bold, rather it should be regular. It should be auto in 0 pixels. So let's just apply it here. Great. You can see how we are creating our styles here based on size. So we are ordering it from the largest to the smallest, as you can see here. Now let's go back to design. And let's continue here. Now we have to add a favorite call to action. That means we want the user to take this channel and put it into his favorites or her favorites. So we want to, I think there is a star here somewhere. I'm not sure where it was. Around here. Yeah. Okay. So we just want to take this star here. We're just going to copy it, bring it over here. Actually, before that, we have to go over here, take it into the icons. Let's make it white. And yeah, let's first Control Alt O. Let's actually take this out of the container, and this would be the star icon. Also, let's make the height 16 pixels. And I think that's all the changes we need for it currently. I think though I forgot something before making it into a stroke. I wanted to okay, yeah. I think around this point, yeah, let's get it out. Star icon. It should have a weight of 2. Just make it a bit thicker, I think, just to fit the overall design style. So let's actually just Control Alt O here, and let's remove the in brackets stroke here. And yeah, let's just create a component from it. Now we can just copy it and go back to design. But we can just come here and paste it. Now what we can do from this point is we can actually just take this and Shift A, put it inside of a frame here, and the frame should have a constant placing here. Okay, first let's go in here and just decrease the height to be 12, and let's make sure that it is centered all around, and it is to be 32 by 32 pixels. And let's give this our full roundedness here. And finally, we'll be applying the gray 300 background color. So this will be our favorite CTA, a button to make the channel favorites. Also, let's decrease this a bit here, just to around 28 or 29. Maybe 29 doesn't work actually. So let's do 24 here, which works pretty nicely. Okay. Obviously, we will go back and work on all of these components. Like, we need to make this drop down work. We need to give this a state in which it is obvious that it is selected. So there are so many things we're going to do in the next couple of videos here. For now, I want to increase this to around 27 here, which works better. Just making it larger. Let's continue. This will be favorites CTA. And let's take these two. I want to put them in an auto layout, auto gap here. And this should be extras, the extras for this one. Since we're going to group it here, this whole frame would be the indicator for selection indicator. So let's just apply it, and let's create a gap of around 12 pixels or 8 pixels. I think 8 pixels, is we don't really want too much space in between here. We can actually just decrease it even to 6. and this should have a height of fill container. Okay, so it's not aligning perfectly here just because there is an additional space here from this text, and I want to just take it and decrease the space manually. Something like this. Now I want to do the same thing here. Okay, great. So now it is aligned perfectly here, as you can see. Sometimes Figma gives letters more of a space just to give it more space to breathe, but it doesn't work always. So yeah, this time we had to just uh, cut it out, part of it. Okay, but it's fine. Let's just continue here. Let's just place it perfectly and okay, great. So now that we are done with this, only one thing remains, and that is the buttons to play, pause, and go back one channel, go in front another channel. So we have to work on those buttons here. So let's start by getting the play, stop, forward, those buttons, right? So where do we get them? I think there is a frame containing them around here. I can't remember where I saw it. Yeah, here. Okay. So let's just take this picture and go to the components. No, actually, the assets. First of all, though, I think we should go back to design, and this one should be a component. So let's just make this into a component. Let's create a component, cut it, component. This can be selection indicator. Okay, then for this one, I think what we have to do, Control Shift R, and we have this right here. So let's just place it perfectly. And you'll see the use of components, right? When we actually start working on prototyping, you'll say like, think we have these components. So for now, it might seem overkill, but just bear with me here and you'll see the use and how important they are. Okay, so from this, we can now go back to assets here. Just copy the vector here and just paste it in. Should have white stroke here. And it should actually be filled. It should not be outlined. Now, most of the time, what you want to do is you want to have if you are working on an outlined context, like if your icons are outlined, you always want them to be outlined. But if they are filled, you always want them to be filled. So here there will be a clash, but there is a good reason for that. That being, this is actually just states of being outlined. It is not actually fully outlined here. Like when the user clicks on the button, let me show you. When the user clicks on this button, that will be changed to a filled icon. So that's the reason. Okay. So this is not constant, is the main point here. So now let's take this vector and let's call it play icon. Obviously, we want to remove the stroke and give it a fill. Then let's create a component out of it. Let's make this 16 pixels height. And now let's take these two. Let's paste them here. This will be, first of all, let's take both of them and Control Alt O. No, before that, Let's take this and change it to be filled. Let's do the same thing for this one, where we change this to be filled. Great. So let's actually take both of them here, Control Alt O. Great, good progress here. This is going to be forward icon. And this will be just a line. Let's go to the line. This will be play. This should also be, actually, this indicates back, and this indicates play, and this indicates front, right? Forward, front. Backward icon. So if you want to take these and just change the color to be white for both of them. Great, so now what we want to do is you want to take this, make it into a component, and take this as well, make it into a component. Great, so now we have the 3 icons we will need to actually create our buttons. So let's start from this. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to go back to components here. Actually, I'm just going to go to design. Okay, so from this point, it's very simple. We just want to put this inside of a frame. This frame would be called the play frame, play CTA. And this should be pretty big. I want to make it pretty big. So 96 by 96. I want to censor it. I don't want there to be any gaps nor there to be paddings. I want to give it the brand background color. Then give it the full fill color. Okay, then what I want to do finally is I want to increase the size to be 24. So let's actually cut this from here. Let's go back to components. Let's just duplicate this. Ctrl-Shift-R. Let's just position it here correctly. Great, so let's make this into a component and copy it, go back to design. We can now paste it here. And now we can just duplicate this above types, 2 types. Let's actually just detach instance here because we want to create a new, this will be backward CTA, and this will be forward CTA. Forward CTA. Okay, great. So since we have these two, the backward and forward, we actually want to make some changes. The first change being that we want their background to be actually gray 300. And is it gray 300 or 300? Probably, yeah. Okay. The next thing to be actually what I want to do is I want to go to variables. Here you can see the power of variables. I want to go to gray 300, and I think it is too dark here and it's not visible enough. So I want to select this. I want to change it. I'm going to go here and I want to increase it just a bit. So around 22. And you can see how it applied everywhere. And now everything is much more visible. And it's very much a better UI UX principle here, visuals. Okay, great. So that's the power of variables. Now we continue. Obviously now what we have to do is we want to go to the assets. Let's take this forward icon. Let's go back to design here. And okay, actually this one should be forward here, Ctrl-Shift-R. And the height should be changed to 16, actually 24. Let's go back to assets again. By the way, these two should have a height of 16 from here. But let's take this one and just go back. Ctrl-Shift-R. Then let's like this. Actually, we changed it, I think. No problem. We could just shift it here. It should be like this. And this is the forward icon. Did the name change as well? Yeah, I think. This should be forward. This should be backward. Great. So we have these CTAs, but we want to make them variables. Actually, components here. Let's go to components. Let's duplicate it twice. Control Shift R. Let's cut this. Control Shift R here. This should be play CTA. Forward CTA. And backward CTA. Now we want to just take this. Sorry, 2 pixels. Do the same thing for here. Okay. So you want to make this into a component. And we also want to make this into a component. You can see how our components are growing here. And now we want to just copy this and go back to design. Paste this here. Now let's go to components once more. Copy this, go back to design. Paste it here. Now we want to make this bigger. The way we want to make this bigger here is we want to select everything here, Shift A, and these be controls actually. Controls. And we want to have just about 16 pixels gap. I think just 8 pixels gap actually. Then we want to take this and we want to have it filling the width of the container. Then let's actually select all of these guys here, and the height should be actually we want to make them locking the aspect ratio. Then we want to fill their height, their width. So now you can see their width is filled, and since it is locked here to 1:1 aspect ratio, their height would also change to accommodate. Great. So I think now we are completely done with our elements. We just have to lay them out properly. Now we're gonna go here first. I think around 24 pixel would have been great, but I think since there is actually first let's go back to components here. Let's go back to components and let's go to the navbar. And I don't want there to be any spacing or padding on the bottom here. Let's just select all of them. Let's just stick it up here. Great. Now here, okay. Here let's go and give this 24 pixel spacing here, which is perfect. And what we want to select here is we want to select, I think these three. First of all, we need to, yeah, let's select these three, and this should be around 64 pixel or 48 pixel gap. Okay, then we're gonna make this selection, and this will be controls. And as we group everything here, we're gonna call this the main part. And since this is 48, we have to make this bigger. Let's go 64. And from this, let's go 24, just to have equal spacing. I think we can go 32 here. And from this, 32 as well. Okay, also I think this is a bit cluttered here, so let's go 64. And here, let's go 96. So at the end, I think if everything is laid out properly here on the nav bar, from the status bar first, nav bar, headline, main. Okay, so in this case, I think we are ready here, and this is our final design for the homepage. I really like the way it turned out. If you have any questions, as always, drop them down below in the comments. I'll try to answer them to the best of my capabilities. This was probably one of the hardest parts of this whole course. I think next we're going to be moving into some easier parts, like going to the components and just making all of them interactable. Not all of them. Just we need a hover effect. We need the nav bar to be functional. Uh, yeah, it will. Maybe we'll spend a couple of videos doing that. Then we're gonna move on to the next screen. Actually, I think the best way of doing this will be to move on to the next screen, which will be the favorites, since we already have it here. And from there, we would just move on to the splash screens, the 3 splash screens, and an extra one to get started here. Uh, yeah, so some common things in mobile app design. Then we're gonna go back into the components and do some prototyping, animating. Then we're gonna be finishing the course. Okay, thanks for watching. I think that's quite enough for today. Yeah, meet you in the next time.